Welcome to UC Today. My name is David Dungay. I'm here today with two different companies, Dialpad and Dashbase. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. How are we all today?
Doing great.
Excellent.
Doing well, thank you.
Doing great.
Let's do a few introductions before we get going. Corey, start us off.
Hi, I'm Corey Burke, Senior Vice President of the Telephony Platform at Dialpad. Dialpad's a business communications company, so we help other companies with their real-time communications in terms of phone calls or video calls, chat and messaging. So we have Contact Center, we have a CCAS product, and a UCAS product.
Yeah, Max, tell us who you are.
Hey, Max Wardell. I'm an engineering manager at Dialpad. I'm the manager of the Telephony Edge platform, and I work under Corey.
Brilliant. And we've got Dashbases as well here. So Alex, tell us who you are and who Dashbase is.
Hi, I'm Alex Munk, co-founder and CEO of Dashbase. We do observability for communications companies. So you can think of us as a log management system that is tailor-made for communications companies, helping communications teams bring all of the disparate telephony logs and application logs together and providing observability tools.
Excellent. Okay, so 2020, it's been a bit of a strange year for, well, the entire world, actually. Can we sum this year up? We're coming towards the end of it now. Let's give us a few words on how the year's gone for you, Corey.
I am still in this chair. I have been here since February 14th or so of this year. No, I mean, in general, it's been a very different year for the business and for, I think, the planet. One of the amazing parts about it has been a chance to sort of highlight work from home, which was something Dialpad has done and sort of promoted internally for a really long time. And one of the sort of downsides about it is, we're all still home. So looking forward to at some point getting back into the office and seeing all my coworkers again, person.
And Max, are you missing the office?
Yeah, definitely the same sentiments as Corey. I definitely do miss the office. I was definitely taking advantage of the fact that at Dialpad we can work from home on Tuesdays and Thursdays prior to 2020. So now it's just, a bit of an extended work from home, but definitely looking forward to getting back to the office.
Alex, how's this year gone for Dashbase?
Well, I think it's presented a unique set of challenges and also opportunities to start a company in a year like this, right? And one interesting thing is that it's definitely, and with all the great tools on the market, has definitely given me an opportunity to get in front of a whole bunch of different people that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to, right? If in the old world, I was always walking around trying to have lunch with people. And so in that way, it's been pretty interesting. And I think there's also like a unity thing going on worldwide where I feel a lot more connected to people that are outside the Bay Area because we're all on equal footing. Like all you are is a square on my screen anyway. So, so in that way, it's been a really interesting time.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, well, look, obviously you've got quite a nice relationship going between Dialpad and Dashbase here. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of that. I mean, Corey, should we start with you? Tell us about some of the problems Dialpad were having prior to this relationship really kicking off.
Yeah, so Dialpad being a real-time communications company and being handling millions of calls a day, we have a very large framework, a fabric of microservices that need to interoperate together to make those phone calls happen. And our logging gets spread out across different devices, mobile applications, web applications, internal microservices, and it makes debugging calls hard. It makes looking for signals for errors a little bit harder. And so having Dashbase take a sort of communication-centric approach, bringing all those logs into one place, allowing us to sort of alert and monitor for them, allowing us to see cross-service logs has been really advantageous in helping us sort of debug and keep communications very reliable for our customer base.
Yeah, absolutely. So Max, looking at the communications landscape as a whole, why are these problems so unique to this market?
Yeah, I think one of the major unique challenges with this industry is, unlike a lot of other kind of tech industries where microservices are purely talking to each other via like a RESTful interface, here we have SIP, RTP, SMS, SMTP, a lot of different protocols, and Dashbase actually takes that into account, which really helps kind of unify and bring like a holistic view into, a quote unquote call.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, let's talk about from a customer point of view. Obviously, we unify lots of data points here. Now, how has that really impacted the way you brought your services to market and delivered to your customer base? Corey, do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's changed up a little bit on how we handle alerting and monitoring. So a bit of working in real-time communications is you have a lot of different disparate environments that customers are in. So some of them are on mobile devices, some of them are in offices, some of them are behind different firewalls. They're moving around, they're roaming, and that makes sort of the challenge not only difficult in terms of how many microservices you need to monitor, but also the types of problems that you find on those issues, with those real-time communications in that really disparate roaming environment. And one thing Dashbase has been able to help us to do is we've been able to, it takes a call-focused approach, right? Because it's a communications logging system and not just any sort of log aggregation or management system. And because of that, we've been able to stitch together calls across these different environments really well, and then monitor across those calls. So you can, for example, see call relationships as a person switches off from their mobile phone and takes maybe this over to a carrier call. A lot of that gets surfaced very easily in Dashbase logs, where you just won't see that in most any other sort of logging solution.
Yeah, and clearly, I mean, this is quite an important solution to have in this day and age. You mentioned, everyone's in disparate locations geographically. What does 2021 look like? Is that going to get worse? Is that going to, we don't know how the pandemic's going to roll out, but what are you expecting from that sort of disparate point of view?
Well, I think one of the interesting parts about 2021 is I don't think we're going to go back to working the way we did in 2019. I do think we're going to return to an office and we're going to see our coworkers and we'll cut cake for birthdays every once in a while. That stuff will continue on, but I think you'll start to see remote work taking a much stronger hold. It already has inside of the IT space, inside information technology. I guarantee you it will take hold in a broader market. And the reason is really simple, is that there's nothing special about your office building. There's nothing inside the building that everyone requires to do their job for most industries. And so a lot of businesses recognizing that are starting to spread their workforce out so that they can work wherever they work best, right? They're going to maximize the value of that workforce. And in order to do that, you need really good communications tools. You have to have, communications is everything. When you're home and you're by yourself or you're at a coffee shop, the only way you're connected to your coworkers is through text messages and emails and video conferencing and calling. And you need those tools to be really good, to really give you that telepresence with your coworkers. And Dashbase really helps enable that, right? Like they're helping us help build those tools. And so, we require Dashbase to basically do a good job delivering reliable phone service. And I think, that's a really healthy relationship.
Yeah. Well, let's go to Alex now. We're talking lots about Dashbase. We're not giving you a chance to tell us about Dashbase. Obviously, you've got quite a unique value proposition going on over there. Give us the lowdown on that.
Yeah, so I highlight a little bit at the beginning that we are an observability solution for real-time communications in particular, and our focus is troubleshooting and root cause analysis. And so there are several things that we provide to our customers that are along those lines and tailored to communications. Maybe one is just being able to handle the mass amount of data that gets generated by real-time communications is number one. We have a system we built from the ground up. It's not a UI on top of some existing open source software or anything like that. We built that from the ground up to be able to handle many, many terabytes of logs per day. So that alone is completely unique. In the UI and user experience, as Corey called out, we focus on helping operators to put calls together and see them all in a visualization. We bring logs into the mix of visualizations together with SIP traffic and show that all on a singular view. And we have a unique interface that was built side by side with teams like Corey and Max and our other customers as well, where with the focus, we've been able to hone our roadmap and to make specific functionality required by actual telephony engineers rather than, say, generic log search capabilities that you might find in other products.
Yeah, that's actually one really interesting bit about working with Dashbase has been how much of a good working relationship that has been. A lot of times you buy software from someone and they work with you throughout the sales process. They're very excited to help you during the sales process, but as soon as you sign that contract, whatever you had at that time, that is what you have forever. And Dashbase has been a great partner with us in terms of building to our evolving needs, and also helping us add and extend it inside our company to more users, more developers, really inside the company.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Corey, you're talking there, and I'm thinking some of those features and benefits. What about from a compliance and securities perspective? How has this helped you really tick those boxes?
Yeah, so that's actually another really interesting bit about Dashbase is that many of the solutions are cloud solutions. You're exporting your logs into the solution, and that means that they have to be compliant with various security regulations in order for us to be compliant. It also makes data retention kind of like a two-way street. You have to always work with them to make sure data is retained in the way you want. With Dashbase, the solution is running inside our infrastructure. We actually are in control of the PII, which, as you know, business communications is full of personal PII and personal information, stuff you don't want everyone to know. And the less companies that have access to that information, the happier the customer for us.
Okay. So, Alex, data and communications, it's only going one way. We've all seen the metrics this year. Various elements of the communication stack have just exploded in terms of volume. Why is this so difficult to deliver for companies?
Well, the challenges that we set out to fix when we started Dashbase, those haven't changed and have been borne out in spades. What really is the underlying challenge is you have real-time operational data that's generated millisecond by millisecond and even more granular, right? And the challenge for operators is how do you get access to that data in, we call it real time, right? Within, say, 30 seconds, like when you're trying to actually find it, how do you do that? Well, under the covers, it's really about being able to ingest that data. We index that data. So we make special data structures that then make it easy for end users to search for that data. So we create data structures. We store that all very efficiently on disk. And then we have a search engine to search over the top of those data structures. So that's some of the secret sauce under the covers that makes it all possible. And it really comes down to this tremendous amount of data that no other system on the planet can really handle. Dashbase can do that. So that's kind of the guts, the engine under the covers, if you will, right? And so when we pair that with the finished functionality that operators need in order to make sense of the huge amount of data, you get something super powerful, right? Top to bottom. And so that's the approach that we took when we started the company. And, and we just really believe that the way to make a company is to work super closely with people like Corey and Max who are willing to go on the journey with you and ensure at every step of the way that you're making it work for them, because they're the key to, really honing it and making it successful.
Okay, Max, I want to come to you now. Obviously, you've had this relationship. We've talked around sort of some of the benefits and features that Dashbase has really brought to your business. Can we really refine that? Tell us a couple of the really big sort of benefits that have come out of this relationship.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the number one benefit that we see with Dashbase is this call tracing feature. So as I mentioned before, it's not just a RESTful interface that we're seeing data flow over these different microservices. We have things like SIP, and Dashbase is able to ingest that, and we can actually see a holistic view of an entire call in one view, and that really helps with debugging different calls. So that's definitely one of the main benefits we see. Another one that I can throw in there is what I would call like a super grep. So we've got logs in a lot of different locations, and being able to just search all of those logs in one location definitely helps with debugging as well.
So, Corey, tell me about these benefits. What benefits came out from this relationship for you?
Well, I mean, I think one of them Max sort of touched on when he mentioned SuperGrep is that a lot of our developers work in an environment that is not really RESTful, right? They're used to debugging on machines. They're used to looking at logs from different devices. And a lot of times the tools that they're used to using are not really web-centric tools. And like Dashbase has really worked well with us to provide an interface that makes them feel comfortable debugging in that system and makes them feel comfortable finding things in that system without having to build a really complex query language or like do a lot of onboarding and training. There isn't special ways of copying logs out. You know, like it makes it very easy for the developers to sort of get on board with Dashbase.
Yeah. Okay. And so we've talked about the technicalities of this relationship, what it's delivering. Now, let's get to the fluffy customer end. You know, what is life like for your customers now? What is it like working with Dialpad, Max?
Yeah, I think so. One of the main things is like when we have a customer issue, typically we'll get a page on it. We've been able to integrate Dashbase URLs for those specific logs related to that issue into our pages. So that has like notably reduced the time we've had to resolve pages, which leads to customer success. So that's definitely been a huge improvement.
Yeah, it also leads to a lot of developer happiness. So on our side, that developers are when you can go very quickly from an alert into what the problem is. That's what we really want to see from our log management system. We really need to be able to debug customer issues quickly and from our house.
Excellent. Okay, so where should we end? We've come towards the end of the session today. I'd like to thank you for joining me. Quickly, Corey, tell us if people want to come and find out a bit more about Dialpad, where should they go?
Yeah, obviously we're on the web, dialpad.com, but like we provide a large amount of business communication services, everything from helping your sales team with outbound calls to helping your support team with their inbound calls and helping employees talk internally and helping you analyze those communications.
Excellent. And Alex, tell us about Dashbase. If people are out there wondering, how do I unify all these data points? Where can they come and find you?
Yeah, so you can look for more information on our website anytime, of course. That's dashbase.io. Or, of course, you can always reach out to us directly. We'd love to talk. info@dashbase.io.
Brilliant. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. That's Alex, Max, and Corey. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching UC Today. Catch you next time.